Hello, magical people. How's everybody doing out there? My name is Meg Moonbeam, and welcome back to my channel. Today is July 1st. Happy July, Rabbit Rabbit. Happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians. And today I want to share astrology for our week ahead from July 1st to July 7th, 2025. We've got Venus conjunct Uranus, Neptune going retrograde, some very interesting stuff going on. And as you guys may have noticed, there was no daily astro show yesterday on Monday. So myself and the rest of the Beyond Mystic team over on the Beyond Mystic channel, we're taking a little bit of a summer vacation time, and we won't have our regularly scheduled programming over on Beyond Mystic. But this week and also next week, I'm going to try my best on Monday of next week. I will be traveling in Alberta, though, to do kind of like a weekly forecast video ahead. I've also pre-recorded some videos for Uranus and Gemini for all 12 signs, the upcoming full moon in Capricorn for all 12 signs, something else. Yeah. So you are going to be getting some content from me over the course of the next 2 weeks. And if you'd like to keep up with my trip that I'm doing to Alberta, I'm so excited to be going to Alberta. Happy Canada Day, Sharon, and everybody out there. You can follow me on social media. I'm mostly active on Instagram, Telegram, X. Follow me over there if you'd like to keep up to date with our travels. We're going to be scoping out Alberta, possibly to live. So I'm really, really excited. Thank you guys for joining me in today's video. Things are getting weird. Okay, we're going to talk about why things are getting really weird with the astrology for this week. And before I get into that, want to mention I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing an astrocartography part 2 workshop over on the Beyond Mystic Academy. This is going to be on Sunday, July 13th. Is it at 1 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, at 1 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be live. You're welcome to join me live, or you can catch the replay. I don't think this is yet in the description box of this video. So as soon as I'm done filming today's live stream, I'll put this in the description box and as a highlighted comment. I did a beginner's guide to astrocartography workshop, which, for those of you who don't know, astrocartography is a method of locational astrology where we have a map of planetary lines over the world. So very passionate about sharing the astrocartography, and this is going to be the part 2. So you can go check that out at Beyond Mystic Academy. And also on Saturday, July 19th, I'm really excited to be doing this Age of Aquarius live lecture in Akasha's Den in Oakville, Ontario. There will also be online streaming passes available. So if you'd like to sign up, you can go check that out at my website, megmoonbeam.com. I'm going to be going deep into what is the Age of Aquarius. What the heck is the Age of Aquarius? Okay, so we'll be getting into that. I'm going to talk about breakdown of the ancient and modern meanings of the Age of Aquarius, what we can expect during this time, what the sign of Aquarius is all about, what is and is not in alignment for us to be doing during these times, astrological remedies to deal with the ascension symptoms. And if you do get, whether you come in person or online, there's unlimited replay access. So how's everybody doing? Hello, MJ. I just saw MJ yesterday and our soul family that was at Jens and I's summer solstice retreat. So I miss you, MJ. I miss everyone, and wanted to share a picture from the retreat that Jens and I just hosted. I am literally coming from the wilderness of Ontario. Yesterday, we spent 4 days in just outside of Algonquin Provincial Park, technically like pretty much in Algonquin Park. It was just right on the northern edge, at the Northern Edge Retreat Center. And we had so much fun. There was 23 of us, like-minded souls from all over the world. We had some people from Europe, Canada, America, and it was so fun. MJ was there as well. It was so fun to be completely unplugged. We had no self-service. We had no Wi-Fi. We did ceremony every day. We had lots of fun out in nature, all kinds of stuff. So love you all, miss you all. everyone that was at the retreat, and definitely need to integrate that as soon as I got back. There's been lots of work that I've had to catch up on. So I'm still in the energy. I'm feeling very refreshed. And MJ, when we do cards, I've got these really cool new tarot cards that MJ gifted me, Tarot of the Unexplained. So near the end of the live stream, when I'm done talking about the astrology, we'll pull from the Tarot of the Unexplained, also my meaning tarot deck as well. So really, really coming at you guys today from a deep place of nourishment and gratitude. And I cannot remember the last time that I spent 4 or more days completely disconnected from any Wi-Fi, any cell service. I feel so, so good. And I feel like that's something very, very important for us during these times, to unplug. We don't always need to be so plugged in. Marcia says, hi, Meg, how was your retreat? This Jersey girl wants to make it up there someday. Yes, it was amazing. And who knows where our next one is going to be. Stay tuned, you guys. We're definitely going to be doing more. MJ, realize how important it is to unplug. Yeah, definitely. I'm totally feeling the same. It feels so good to have been unplugged and now we're plugged back in. And there's some good news going on that I'm sure some of you guys have seen. Well, kind of screwed up news, but good that there's major truths continuing to be revealed. So we're going to get into that. So what have we got going on for our week ahead with the Western astrology? Well, we are going to be having Venus conjunct Uranus exact, Venus entering Gemini, Neptune going retrograde in the sign of Aries, Venus sextile Saturn and Neptune, and also Uranus entering the sign of Gemini. So I'm going to be talking today about the astrology from Tuesday, July 1st. That's the day that I'm filming today's live stream, going until Monday, July 7th. And I'm going to try my best, you guys. My next weekly video I'm going to do on Monday, July 7th for that next week. I'll be somewhere in Alberta, and it'll be probably really early in the morning for me, but that's okay. We're going to do it. So we're starting off the week this week. It's Canada Day, July 1st, Canada Day, July 4th, Independence Day. So happy Canada Day, Independence Day to all my fellow Canadians and American friends and family out there. We're also going to look at the solar return for Canada and the USA in today's video. So right now, as I'm filming this live, we got the sun 10 degrees of Cancer, still in a strong conjunction to lucky Becky Jupiter, exalted in Cancer. So today's the last day, Tuesday, July 1st, where we're within a strong 5-degree orb of this sun conjunct Jupiter. And, you know, the sun likes to be in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So this is one of the most positive aspects in astrology that we have been having. And we saw last week when this conjunction started and when we were in the portal of the new moon in Cancer, you know, very Jupiterian miracles, blessings, positivity occur when we kind of were about to go into a World War III situation, and then that didn't happen. So it's cool how everything lines up with the astrology. There's still a lucky vibe in the air. There are opportunities. If you're paying attention, there's lots of signs and synchronicities with Sun conjunct Jupiter. If you're paying attention, and technically throughout the whole week, we do have this Sun conjunct Jupiter. By Monday, July 7th, they will be within a 9-degree orb. So getting to be, once it's outside of 10 degrees, it's, not very strong, but we're within a 10-degree orb of Sun conjunct Jupiter for the whole week ahead, which is a positive influence. And it's very, very expansive. Montero Awaken 333, I like your name, says counting blessings in the comments. Yes, this is a good time to be counting blessings, to be aware of gratitude, to also be putting intentions and wishes out there, to be open to receiving. Okay. What is it with this Sun conjunct Jupiter that you have been receiving from the universe? What's the feedback that you've been getting from the universe? What has been just coming to you very effortlessly the past week, and what is going to continue to come to you effortlessly? Pay attention to that with this Sun conjunct Jupiter. So, uh, this is also in the sign of Cancer. This aspect, Cancer specifically, has to do with our homes, family, property, countries, homelands, emotions, women, the divine feminine. So, all those areas of life going through a positive upliftment. We've got the moon just at the end of Virgo as I'm filming this. On later, very soon today, actually on Tuesday, early evening Eastern time, moon ingresses into Libra. We will have the moon in Libra Tuesday, going into Wednesday, also part of Thursday. So that's a nice energy. Sun in Cancer with the moon in Libra. Oh my God, as I am talking, I have a family member walking in the door here to the home that I'm staying at the moment. So might be a little disruption. I'm just going to mute myself for 1 second, you guys. Be right back. Sorry about that, you guys. So, yeah, with the sun in Cancer and moon in Libra at the beginning of, well, not the beginning of the week because I'm filming this on Tuesday, part of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, this is a very big emphasis on others in our lives, our relationships, our loved ones. We can really be feeling like we're wanting to be spending time around the people that we love. Now, the biggest aspect of this week that I want to bring to all your attention, okay, which is very weird and does affect relationships, among other things, is the fact that we are having exact Uranus conjunct Venus. Now, this is going to be exact on July 4th, which, what day of the week is July 4th? Friday, July 4th. Interesting, on Independence Day. So the solar return chart of the USA is going to have this Uranus conjunct Venus. And actually, let me check. Yeah, the USA solar return is actually on July 4th. So we will take a look at that in a little bit. Now, why this is very peculiar and strange and is making things very weird this week going into next week is because Uranus is the planet that rules weirdness, shocks, surprises, instability. At fall position in Taurus, where he's been since 2018. Interesting, Uranus at fall in Taurus, Venus at home in Taurus. So Venus in a place she really loves to be at the end of one of her two rulership signs. Uranus somewhere where he doesn't like to be, and they're in conjunction at 29 degrees, which is a critical degree, actually what we call in astrology the anaretic degree. 29 degrees is quite a challenging, intense degree because it is the last one before going back into zero again. So when we see 29 degrees, these are tension points. 29 degrees is a Leo degree in Nicholas Stojanovich's degree theory. So Leo is very much about the heart, love, passion, creativity, romance, self being in our passions. But it can also be, I feel like 29 degrees out of all three of the Leo degrees is a very dramatic degree. And, Uranus being shocks, surprises, unexpected events, weirdness, conjunct Venus at home in Taurus. This is bringing a lot of weirdness, instability, shocks, surprises, and also downloads and insights to the Venus Taurus ruled areas. So we're talking about Mother Earth, the weather, nature. We're talking about finances, the financial markets, currency, our values, pleasures and enjoyments of life, right? Taurus also has to do with music, creativity, luxury as well. And Venus and Taurus have to do with relationships, committed relationships in love, in work, in friendship. So this is a week, and again, this aspect is exact on July 4th, Uranus conjunct Venus. This is a week of some weirdness, and it doesn't stop when we go into this week, and it doesn't stop for the whole rest of the month, because after we have exact Uranus conjunct Venus, Uranus ingresses into Gemini. So Uranus changes signs for the first time since 2018. And Uranus will be at another critical degree, 0 degrees, except 0 degrees is way more energetic than 29 degrees. It's when we have something at 0 degrees, the strongest expression of that planet in whatever sign it's in. So we're going through kind of this trippy week of major kind of instability and weirdness, again, in our relationships, possibly our love life, our finances, weather, nature, Mother Earth events as well. And then when we start next week on Monday, July 7th, Uranus ingresses into Gemini, and this is bam, all outer planets in fire and air signs in positive aspects to each other and at critical degrees. So we're starting to dip our toes for the first time into the future that we're stepping into. So this is our last week. I'm going to say this week, part of why it's getting so weird is this is our last week of the old world that we knew before. And that may sound very kind of Leo dramatic for me to say, but this is the last of what we've known. Once that Uranus goes into Gemini on July 7th, and all the outer planets are in air, fire signs at critical degrees and in strong aspects to each other, we are not in Kansas anymore. And, the interesting thing about Uranus is Uranus, and sometimes I know some of you guys don't like when I say this, but I am honest. I have to be an honest astrologer. Uranus rules unpredictability. Okay. So we can, look, we can make astrological predictions. I can also feel things intuitively. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll also pull some cards as well. But when it comes down to it, part of why Uranus is so weird is because it's unpredictability, unpredictable events, things coming out of left field. That's funny. Vastness Pegasus says, I'm actually in Kansas. LOL. Okay, well, for those of you in Kansas, very cool. I'd love to visit Kansas one day. Sister Nobody says, I'm also on Diddy Watch. Busy. Yes, on Diddy Watch as well. Luke and I will try to do an impromptu live when the verdict gets called. So I am going to be traveling actually to Alberta on Thursday. I've got a lot going on between now and then, but hopefully Luke and I can do a live. We've been doing a series on our channels of the P. Diddy trial, doing recaps of that. So we will see what happens with that. So it is a week of weirdness. We are being tested on our values, relationships, finances. Mother Earth is going through a huge upgrade. I think we're going to see huge Earth events this week. Hopefully nothing too adverse and weird, but I think we will have major weather events, possibly, Uranus in particular rules lightning, storm activity, electricity, geomagnetic storms, can be earthquakes as well. So be mindful, you guys, if you are in nature, watching the weather. Okay, that's like very kind of normie of me to say, but being mindful of the weather. Tim says, Meg, Alberta bound. Yes, I am so excited. Alberta. I'll keep you guys posted along the way. July 4th is also interesting, not just because it's Independence Day, not just because it's Uranus conjunct Venus, which the US and its solar return will have that Uranus conjunct Venus for the whole next year ahead. Wait, for me, because I'll get to that in a little bit, the USA solar return chart. But also on July 4th, Venus enters Gemini, changes signs, and Neptune goes retrograde in Aries. Okay. So we've already got Pluto retrograde since May 4th, Neptune going retrograde on Friday, July 4th. And then throughout the month of July, we're actually going to start having a little bit of what we like to call in astrology a retrograde city. Okay, Saturn's going retrograde, Mercury's going to be retrograde, Chiron's going to be retrograde. So when the planets go retrograde, there is a theme in the air of the past, reflection on whatever areas of life are ruled by the planet that is retrograde. So it is in alignment to kind of take a sacred pause on the areas of life that a planet rules when it's retrograde. Neptune going retrograde is going to even strengthen Neptune's influence. Neptune has been in Aries since the end of March of this year and is in a very strong conjunction to Granddaddy Saturn. Okay, we're going through Neptune conjunct Saturn in the beginning of Aries. That won't be exact until February 2026. But wow, that's going to actually strengthen that conjunction with Neptune being retrograde, us feeling it stronger. Neptune rules spirituality, the health institutions, creativity. In its shadow side, it's lies, illusion, mind control. So I think a lot of the lies and illusions are going to start to really be broken with this Neptune retrograde. We're going to see major changes to the health institutions, the medical systems, as I've been predicting. And I want to share this with you guys. This came out yesterday on June 30th. This is a clip of our beloved RFK Jr. on Tucker Carlson. Right before I went live, I was watching this whole episode. It's fascinating to hear what RFK is doing to, bring the truth out about the what's shots. So here is RFK Jr. breaking. He says the CDC covered up an internal study which found a 1,135% increase in autism risk from the hepatitis B, what. Conspiracy theorists were right again. Let's take a little listen.
What you would do if you wanted to find the answer, which is to compare outcomes in a fully vaccinated group to health outcomes in an unvaccinated group. And CDC did that study in 1999. They brought in a team of scientists under a Belgian researcher named Thomas Verstraeten, and they looked at the data. They looked at children who had received the hepatitis vaccine within the first 30 days of life and compared those children to children who had received the vaccine later or not at all. And they found an 1,135% elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children. And it shocked them. They kept the study secret, and then they manipulated it through 5 different iterations to try to bury the link. And, we know how they did it. They got rid of all the older children, essentially, and just had younger children who were too young to be diagnosed. And they stratified the data, and they did a lot of other tricks. And all of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery.
Wow. So again, for those of you who may not have understood RFK, I know sometimes people can have a hard time understanding him. He basically just revealed that the CDC covered up an internal study that found a 1,135% increase in autism risk from Hep B shot. So that is unbelievable. They also talked about in that podcast, RFK on the Tucker Carlson podcast, that they're going to be doing a press conference announcing of their findings of, what are the risks and the true reality of these shots that most of us have been receiving and what is making us so sick. So this makes sense with Mercury retrograde, with the outer planets in the aspects that there are the eclipses on the health axis of Virgo and Pisces, major changes to the medical field and positive changes, actually. MJ says, in Canada, they used to give the Hep P, you know what, in fourth grade. Now, newborns. Absolutely disgusting. That is unbelievable. Yeah, it's freaky. And I'm happy that the truth is coming out. Also want to mention, speaking of weirdness, okay, speaking of weirdness that has to do with the earth and nature and animals with Venus conjunct Uranus, I'm sure some of you guys have heard of alligator Alcatraz, which is, I think, just opening up today. So alligator Alcatraz is a new detention center in the middle of the Everglades. I think it's for illegal immigrants, if I'm not mistaken. Let's listen to this little clip of Ron DeSantis and President Trump talking about the now open alligator Alcatraz. Of course, this would happen with Venus conjunct Uranus.
Florida, this is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two. So they're not going to be detained, hopefully, for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now, that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended. But you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
So Trump and DeSantis confirmed Florida will deputize National Guardsmen as immigration judges. Instead of waiting 3 years for a deportation decision, it will be made in less than 3 days at Alligator Alcatraz. Unbelievable. That is absolutely wild. Yeah, I think that's an AI of the alligators dressed up like ICE agents. And let me know if there's anything this is also the inside of Alligator Alcatraz. 3,000 bed detention center built in 8 days. That's pretty wild. Let me know if there's anything I am missing, you guys, that has come up within the last few days as I've been completely offline. I know there's some stuff I've probably missed that I'm not totally up to date with. So let me know. Also want to mention this week that we have on Saturday, July 6th, we are going to be having let me bring this up here. We are going to be having exact Venus in Gemini in sextile, positive aspect to Saturn and Neptune. So that's a beautiful aspect on Saturday. We're in the energy of it all week, but it'll be exact Saturday, July 6th. Bringing positive energy, blessings, and renewal to our relationships, values, financial system as well. I feel like there's huge breakthroughs and changes happening this upcoming week in multiple different areas of life. I feel like this is actually going to be one of the most surprising and important weeks of the year for sure. We're going to finish off the week with a moon in Scorpio on Friday and Saturday. So feeling intense emotionally, but we are receiving positive blessings and breakthroughs in all those Venetian Aries areas. Oh my God, I can't even talk, you guys. Sorry, I've been in the wilderness for so long. Also in the Neptune conjunct Saturn Aries of the systems and structures of life transforming. So let's see here. Let's pull some cards. Before we take a look at the solar return for Canada and the US, their birthday charts for the year ahead, let's pull some tarot cards for us as a collective for this week coming up. And I've got my meaning tarot cards, and I've also got the new cards. MJ gifted me the tarot of the unexplained. So what does the universe want us to know for this week ahead? Venus conjunct Uranus, weirdness. We've got the Magician. Wow, we've got the Nine of Wands and Temperance. Two major arcana. And let me pull some also from the Tarot Unexplained. These are so cool. Thank you, MJ. These are like my new favorite cards now. And hello, Jill. Nice to see you in the chat. We missed you and Steve at the retreat. Happy almost Independence Day. Okay, Tarot of the Unexplained. These ones are really trippy. So we've got the Eight of Saucers, which saucers are, what element are the saucers, MJ? Are they pentacles? Eight of Flying Saucers. Five of Portals, which I think portals are cups. Interesting. And two of Flying Saucers. Yeah, pentacles. Okay, thanks, MJ. And also I opened the cards when Sunny and I were on our way home. And whoever made this deck, his name's Davazilla, Tarot of the Unexplained. Really cool like descriptions. He put a lot of time into this, so we'll take a look at that for sure. Wow. The Magician and Temperance. This is a very powerful week ahead energetically. I mentioned at the top of the live stream that, with Uranus at the end of the sign and getting ready to move into Gemini on Monday, Uranus in conjunction to Venus, it's like, feels like we are magicians and things are manifesting faster. We need to be very mindful of where we're asserting our energy through our actions, through our words, through our thoughts. The Magician says you can make your imagination real. Creative power, skill, adaptation. So there's beautiful manifestations and new beginnings that can happen this week. Very magical week as well. We've also got the Sun conjunct Jupiter in a light aspect, and Temperance, which for me, Temperance, I really feel, I know it's about balance and combining of forces, but to me, I really feel like Temperance has a very healing energy. So even though there will be some instability and some unpredictable weirdness, it's bringing healing and it's helping us to move forward in a more positive space. And yeah, with the Nine of Wands, there's going to be like some weird shit that comes up for sure this week. But Nine of Wands is reminding us to, even though we may feel a little weird, I'm sorry I can't really close up on the card, you guys, but the Nine of Swords, it's a person that's looking a little bit timid, a little bit freaked, all these wands that they've accumulated. Even though things are feeling weird, it's actually very, very safe to move forward and things are not as bad as they seem. Believe in yourself and have courage to continue. Courage, persistence, strength, great success. Okay. Interesting. And let's see from the Tarot of Unexplained, just a little bit of what it says in each. Okay, Eight of Saucers. Saucers, saucers, saucers. Yeah, these are really cool cards. Oh, hi, Steve. Hi, grandkids. So this is our Eight of Saucers, which is equivalent to the Eight of Pentacles. Hard work, dedication, craftsmanship, skill, phenomena. One object disappears and something else appears. Fairy pranks, trickster, god behavior. The Eight of Saucers upright suggests a focus on hard work, dedication, and craftsmanship. This card can indicate a time of learning, honing skills, and making steady progress. Maybe it's time to look into one, and even if it's only a free YouTube one, that is in your profession or skill set. What are you really good at, and are you keeping up on it? So again, I felt the Magician saying that, and the Eight of Saucers is saying that as well. What are you putting your energy into right now? Because this is a very powerful week of manifestation. I'm hearing Spirit say like your words create your reality, your thoughts create your reality. Everything is creating the reality even more intensely right now. That also goes for your goals and your long-term dreams. And we also got the 5 of portals. Portals are equivalent to cups. So let's see here. 5 of portals. Nostalgia. Sorry, is it the 5? Yeah, 5. Loss, grief, disappointment, regret. Oh, wow. Phenomena, magnetic interferences, and unexplainable death. This is a card of loss. You may be mourning the end of a relationship, job, a project, or a dream that did not come to pass. This card encourages you to take time to process your emotions and allow yourself to grieve. Yeah. I do feel this is like the last week of the old world as we know it, with Uranus at the end of Taurus before going into Gemini. So there may be a little bit of grief that is coming up with that, and an invitation to do some healing work, meditation, reflection, prayer. But we are moving forward into a very empowered and positive direction. So there can also be a weirdness in our emotions, in our well-being mentally. In medical astrology also, Uranus rules the nervous system and the brain. So with very strong aspects to Uranus and Uranus at critical degree, we can feel more sensitive in anxiety or nervousness or issues with sleep. So grounding is going to be very important this week. And last card, the 2 of Saucers, which is equivalent to the 2 of Pentacles. Juggling, priorities, adaptability, change, watch your money, time for a party. Phenomena, animals acting strangely, animals staring at nothing, multiple animals facing the same direction outside. Ooh, that sounds freaky. The 2 of Saucers can mean you have too many irons in the fire. Maybe you have a day job and a night job. Maybe your daytime activities seem to contradict your nighttime ones. For example, the drug dealer who is putting himself through law school, or the zoologist who hunts for chupacabras. In order to succeed, you need to be flexible and be able to adapt to changing circumstances. You need to find a balance between work and play and to prioritize self-care in order to maintain your well-being. So yeah, it feels like we're between worlds, we're between timelines, we're between old way of doing things and new way of doing things. And there's a lot of potential and opportunity along with the weirdness, and self-care is going to be very, very important for us. Julie says, feeling a bit off/weird today. Can't put my finger on it. Well, it is weirdness with Uranus this week. That is for sure. So Cindy says, yes, in flux. Before I finish up, you guys, just want to bring a little peek here at the solar return birthday charts for Canada and the USA in the year ahead. So Canada's solar return, even though Canada's birthday is July 1st, happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians. The exact solar return of Canada was actually yesterday, Monday, June 30th at 5:16 a.m. Eastern time. And what do you guys notice about this? Okay, my astrology friends out there, before I say what I think, you guys know I like to keep it interactive. What are you guys noticing about this solar return chart for Canada? Noticing anything interesting? Let me know. If nobody does, that's okay. But I like to also hear what you guys have to say and your analysis and intuitive feelings. A few things definitely stand out to me in regards to this chart. Yeah, MJ, you got it. Jupiter conjunct the sun. You got it. So, Canada is a sun, 8 degrees, Cancer, 50 minutes. So this birthday year, Canada's got a sun conjunct Jupiter. Technically, it's actually Sun, Jupiter, rising conjunction. So 2 of the most important placements, the rising in the sun, conjunct Jupiter, exalted in Cancer. This is very positive for Canada. So, I know depending on kind of what your beliefs are, you may think that Canada is in a really great position. We're standing up to Canada. We're standing up to the US. We're going to be strong and free. Everything's fine. Everything's better than it's ever been. Or you might be a Canadian very concerned about some of the things that are going on. This is indicating very positive development for all Canadians. And, Jupiter has to do with expansion. Okay. First house is identity and foundation. So, astrologically, this is actually indicating that the country may be expanding into something else, if you guys catch my drift. So, very positive energy, miracles, and blessings, which some of you guys may think, okay, Meg, that's very airy fairy, but that's literally in the astrology. And look at this, Mars conjunct Moon in Virgo, 4-degree orb. So health is a very big theme. Moon in Virgo. Virgo has to do with health, day-to-day work, our routines. The moon in mundane astrology can also represent the people, right? The people, the moon conjunct Mars are feeling very Mars or feeling very Aries, Scorpio. They want action. They want independence. They want freedom. So we can see the people of Canada actually stepping up in a new way, possibly more empowered way this birthday year. And, the moon is significant because it is the chart ruler, as the solar return is a Cancer rising. Interesting. And Saturn Neptune conjunction in the 10th house. So that can indicate the dissolving of a political figure or a political party. In shocking ways, sextile to Uranus. Pluto in the 8th house, very big year of transformation for Canada. So we will see what happens, you guys. Yeah, Julie says, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yes, if you catch my drift. And let's take a look at the solar return birthday chart for the USA, which will actually be starting on July 4th. Sometimes the solar return is the day before, day after, or day of. So Canada has the very strong Sun conjunct Jupiter. For USA, it's within, I believe, an 8-degree orb. So not as strong, but it's still there. And Sun conjunct Jupiter in the 6th house. Okay, so very highlighted on health and work and workers. There can be positive developments in the health field, in the healthcare system, in people's health. We are having the Maha movement to make America healthy again. And look, that moon in Scorpio, whoa, exactly conjunct Black Moon Lilith in the USA solar return. So this is going to be continued. And the last solar return of the USA also had a major Scorpio influence. And look, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, conjunct the rising. So continued intensity, transformation, secrets being revealed, dark figures being exposed. And with that moon conjunct Black Moon, Lilith, and Scorpio, in trine to the Sun and Jupiter in the 6th house of Virgo, it does have a lot to do with health and the health field. And maybe we'll even see a trial. Okay, the 9th house can have to do with trials, courts, the trials of somebody darker in nature. Look, that's the moon and Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio at a Scorpio degree. I think we might see a public trial of what has happened health-wise and people, nefarious people being put on trial that are related to health. And it's something that it feels like the people have been waiting for a really long time. So I'm going to make that astrological prediction. And I think it will happen in the United States of America. Well, this is the first time I'm looking at this. So I'm telling you guys that in the moment as I'm seeing this for the first time. Will be very hard information for the people to hear. Mercury information in square to the moon in Scorpio in the 9th house. And what else? Neptune conjunct Saturn in the second house. So changes to the money system, dissolving of the money system, and a new system being created. And a Capricorn rising at a Cancer degree. So how is the USA being seen? The rising is how are we being seen? Very much in regards to the politics and the politicians in very powerful position. Pluto conjunct the rising. With the moon in Scorpio and Pluto conjunct the rising, there may even be, and I don't want to be correct about this, but just saying there may be a very significant death of somebody prominent. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. There's a theme of Scorpio. The Scorpio influence is very, very strong. The Pluto influence is very, very strong. Woo! Heather says, yes, let's pray that happens. Definitely. MJ says, all sounds very explosive. Yes. Woohoo! Very, very explosive. Very, very exciting times we are living in. And thank you guys so much for joining me for today's weekly astrology video for a week ahead. I will be live again next Monday to talk about the next week. I will have some sporadic pre-recorded videos that I've done throughout this week and next week that I will be posting while the Beyond Mystic team is on vacation and I'm not doing my regularly scheduled programming on the Beyond Mystic channel at the moment. So hope you guys are all doing really, really well. You have a magical week ahead. And just want to remind you again that I've got two cool things coming up. On Sunday, July 13th, I've got my astrocartography workshop part 2 happening at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can join me for the live or the replay, and we're going to go deeper into locational astrology, where the best places for you to live, work, travel. Fascinating to look at the astrology of the world's map for each of us personally. And the beginner's guide to astrocartography is available on Beyond Mystic Academy. I'll put the link to both in the description box below. And then the next week after the astrocartography workshop, I'm doing a live Age of Aquarius lecture at Akasha's Den in Oakville, Ontario, Saturday, July 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And this is going to be an in-depth live lecture. There will be online streaming passes available. You can go check that out at megmoonbeam.com. I'm going to go deep dive on what the heck is the Age of Aquarius? How can we be prepared for it? What does this mean? What is the astrological, metaphysical significance for this? And what are some remedies to deal with this major, unprecedented time of entering a new astrological age? And if you'd like to follow me on social media, my links are below. All my offerings are below at the description box. And I love you all so much. Oh, thanks, MJ, so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate that. And I'm going to miss you guys, the next couple of weeks. But again, I do have some pre-recorded videos that I will be posting while I am traveling. So I'm sending so much cosmic love your way. Oh, thank you, Heather, for the super chat. Love you guys. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, everybody. Embrace the weirdness. Love you. Bye.